For the last decade, the world has been asking the wrong question. It's been asking, who wins, America or China? But a third economy has been quietly outpacing expectations. It is now the fastest growing major economy in the world's most populous nation, 1.4 billion people, a median age under 30. Major global companies are shifting production there, a workforce becoming more skilled and more productive every year, and doing it while most major economies slow. That economy is India. And if this pace continues, by the time the world realizes what's happening, India won't be catching up. It will be up there, competing at the very top. Here's what's actually happening. India's rise isn't accidental, it's demographic. China is aging, Europe is aging, even the United States is slowing. Workforces are shrinking, India is moving in the opposite direction. It has the largest population in the world, but more importantly, it is young. The median age is under 30. Millions are entering the workforce every year. That creates momentum. But demographics alone don't create power. They create potential. The real question is whether that potential converts into productivity. And that's where the second force begins. But population alone doesn't build factories, capital does. And over the last 5 years, global capital has been repositioning. For decades, manufacturing concentrated in one place. China became the world's factory. Efficient, integrated, and unmatched in scale. But concentration creates vulnerability. COVID exposed it. Export controls reinforced it. Geopolitical tension amplified it. Suddenly, companies weren't just optimizing for cost. They were optimizing for resilience. Diversification became strategy. Not replacing China, but reducing dependence on it. And then Apple began expanding iPhone assembly in India at scale. Suppliers followed. Investment increased, production capacity expanded, and India began reaping the benefits. More skills transferred, more infrastructure built, and more jobs created for local workers. This is how supply chains shift, not overnight, but steadily. Now, here's where this becomes structural. India isn't just attracting factories, it's sitting on something much rarer: time. Right now, India has one of the youngest major populations in the world. The median age in India is around 30. In China, it's close to 39. In Europe, it's over 44. That gap matters. Because demographics don't just shape society, they determine how long a country can grow before hitting structural limits. When your workforce is expanding, you can grow fast without overheating. When your workforce is shrinking, every percentage point of growth becomes harder. China is now fighting demographic gravity. India isn't. India still has runway. That runway is a long stretch of open road. It means investment today has 20 years to compound. It means factories built now won't face labor shortages in 5 years. It means domestic demand can rise alongside production, not against it. But here's the part that matters. Demographic advantage is a tide. You either ride it while it's rising, or you miss your opportunity. Demographics create potential. Handled well, they multiply output. Handled poorly, they create domestic tension. It all comes down to execution. Can a graduate walk out of a classroom and step straight into a job and actually add value? Can goods move from factory to customer without getting stuck in traffic, paperwork, or broken infrastructure? Can an entrepreneur raise capital without going through unnecessary hurdles? Because youth alone doesn't generate power. Millions of young people with nothing to do don't create growth. They create frustration. However, skilled youth build industries, and that transformation doesn't happen by accident. It's built through consistent execution over years. So where is India right now? It's not an economic miracle, but it's no longer just potential. Walk through Mumbai and you'll see glass towers rising next to construction cranes. Drive across parts of the country and you'll see new highways cutting through what used to be bottlenecks. Step into a small shop and you'll see a QR code for digital payment, not cash. Visit an industrial park and you'll see global supply chains quietly taking shape. This is not hype, it's infrastructure. Manufacturing is expanding, exports are growing, but they don't yet rival China. Per capita income is rising, but it remains a fraction of developed nations. India is building, but it is still early in the build. The foundations are improving, but the system is still being upgraded, and that's what makes this moment different. India isn't proving whether it can grow, it's proving whether it can sustain growth, and that is a much harder test. India's future looks promising. If India continues upgrading infrastructure, improving logistics, and strengthening education, it won't just grow, it will compound. And compounding changes everything. It reshapes supply chains, it redirects capital flows, it shifts where companies build. But if progress slows, the tide doesn't pause, it moves elsewhere. Vietnam, Mexico, or Indonesia. The opportunity doesn't disappear, it relocates. That's why this decade matters. Not because India is destined to rise, but because it now has a window. And in economics, timing is power. India's timing has arrived. What happens next will determine whether this becomes the start of India's rise or a missed opportunity.